Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here, and we are back for some more of the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, Nintendo Wii U, PC/Steam, and of course Nintendo 3DS. So, last time we actually did manage to completely done with the last main cup of the forms of, the normal Grand Prix mode of the forms of Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, which is obviously Classic Cup. Super Nintendo, today for this episode, ladies and gentlemen, especially because of until when it gets to the point until next week, that I might as well able to actually conclude this Let's Play completely, because from now on, though, we're going to be focusing on one last thing before we move on to the forms of the extra video that's going to come up, and, we're about to be participating for the next set of few cups, or in this case, for this matter, the exact same cups again, but this time on mirror mode. So you can then know that we'll explain more on that. And as you can see, we got ourselves the avatar character, which much like in the forms of how it does it in the original Sonic and Sonic All-Stars Racing, that it's only exclusive to the Xbox 360 version. Whilst if you ever play this on, I would say on the Wii U version or the 3DS versions, that you get yourselves just your Mii. But if you play this on the PlayStation 3 or the PlayStation Vita, well, too bad there's none of those special guests around here. So, or whilst if you play this on the PC version, well, obviously you do have quite a few special guests around here. So even then though, yeah, we're about to get started right there. So as you can see, we're about to be going back into the Dragon Cup one last time, and because of this, not only do we able to actually see those particular tracks for one last time, but due to the fact the matter is, though, is the fact that I would say that we might actually unlock most of these stages from the mirror versions of the stages themselves. Super Nintendo, hopefully everything else will be checked out there, so let's get started with Ocean View. Super Nintendo, that this might be the final time we're going to be driving into this particular stage, until Sonic, or Team Sonic Racing game was about to be able to come out, that, you know, I'm really looking forward to able to re-racing that particular track again, but except the fact that the only difference is obviously team-based race. So yeah, that makes it clearly obvious here. So as you can tell right there, I'm actually going to go increase the difficulty upwards this time around, because I'm actually going to be going for the hard mode this time, because even then, since I've already done the main normal Grand Prix, as in the forms of the medium difficulty, which I have to be honest here, that, well, it's pretty easy at first, but I just will say is the fact that I'm actually kind of a little bit more, it's hard to describe this actually, because even then, that I just felt a little bit more comfortable with medium, but throughout the majority of the time for these days now, even on the mirror versions of the cups themselves potentially, that what I'm going to do now is the fact that I'm actually going to be participating with the harder challenge, mainly by the forms of the harder difficulty this time around. So let's just see how this all turns out, because even then though, I think I've already know about the forms of the harder difficulty, because even then, I've already experienced that since the World Tour mode. So even then though, expecting that the computer players might actually go a little bit more cheaper, or especially noticeable how the fact that they are able to actually catch you off guard. And even especially noticeable because of how the fact that if you're really trying to throw, you know, if you really want to like perform some stunt tricks and stuff like that, which is easily the hardest part about this sometimes, because even then, again, if you mess up with your trick system at least once or twice, then you're probably not going to get your speed whatsoever. So as you can see, I'm actually going to be playing as Knights throughout in this particular cup today, and eventually when it gets to the point until Monday, that I'm actually going to be picking something completely different, because I will explain more on that whenever we get to the forms of the 1st of April, in this case by the forms of the exact same day as the April Fool's Day. So even then, don't expect too many surprises around here, but even then, we'll see what happens there. And look at that, I was 3rd place. Oh jeez, I was doing pretty well, but I'm guessing because that how the fact that computer players will always attempt to catch up, which even then though, that be... Sorry, I can't explain about this for this point. And yeah, it's just that I just felt incredibly bad for able to actually gain like lower than 2nd or 1st. Although It's alright, because even then, though, that eventually, whenever we get to the next couple of stages, most notably with Sunshine Studios or Samba Studios, that hopefully I might as well able to get in first place. And seems more accurately, I don't seem to have quite a few good lucks of the forms of the bonus chance roulette yet. So hopefully we might as well able to still get a chance while doing so. But even then, we'll see what happens there. So today was actually, today's day actually, is of course by the forms of the 28th of March today. So even then though, that tomorrow, that Kingdom Hearts The Story So Far collection is going to be released tomorrow for the PlayStation 4 for the UK countries, mine myself included. But even then though, that I don't really seem to think how the fact that I'm probably not going to pick up the Story So Far collection, to be honest, because it's the exact same collection as you get from, you know, the individuals collection from the past few, let's say for about the past 2 years or so. So, there's no need for that. Although it's kind of cool, though, to be able to now finally experience the entire collection for those of you who have not, you know, pick up the forms of these two collections yet. Well, this is a collection for you. So, anyways, though, and also Yoshi's Crafted Worlds will be released tomorrow, so now I've seen the actual, like, some of the playthroughs for the time, but even though I haven't really seen the final portion of the game yet, because obviously that game is not going to come out until tomorrow, or in this case for this matter for about, I would say for about 6 hours left before the forms of the actual game comes out, so even then, no, that makes it a little bit obvious there, and, I'm sad to say is the fact that, much like in the forms of how it does it in Captain Toad Treasure Tracker or anything like that, there's only one save file, so even then though that, which is a shame, because even then, in the previous Yoshi games, specifically by the forms of the original Yoshi's Island, and especially noticeable with Yoshi's Island DS, and especially noticeable with Yoshi's Woolly World, mind you, in the forms of in Yoshi's Story, they did have at least one save file, just because you have to go through, like, multiple playthroughs of that game, just like the ones of how it does it in the game called Liard Wars, aka Star Fox 64, that you can able to actually replay the actual game again, but you have to go through a different route and all that stuff, depends on what goals you're gonna have to go for. So even then, that it's kind of like the same thing for Yoshi's Story, but even then though, it's just a complete different story. But it's kind of a shame that Yoshi's Crafted World is gonna be, you know, one save file only, which might be alright as such, but even then, I'm probably not gonna do that Let's Play just yet though. Because what I'm going to do is the fact that, well, definitely needs to be able to actually finish up with Yoshi's Woolly World first, before we jump into the forms of Yoshi's Crafted World afterwards. So, it might get ourselves a little bit of a long time to able to complete that particular Yoshi's Woolly World, because of all depending on the forms of, you know, the upcoming Let's Plays exponentially too. So even then, let's not forget about that. So, and also by the fact the matter is though, is that tomorrow the remake of Dumbo is going to be released tomorrow by the forms of the actual, like, you know, on the big screen. But I've still seen some of these reviews out there, and it does say by the forms of how the fact that they did have, like, somewhat mixed reviews and somewhat negative reviews, because even then, I could assume because of the forms of Tim Burton's projects, they used to be, I think last time they, Tim Burton's did done a Disney film like this, which is actually by the forms of the live-action remake of Alice in Wonderland, and especially noticeable with Alice Through the Looking Glass. So that was the last time that Tim Burton managed to able to actually make the Disney film like that. But even then, despite that he did make those two previous films for about, I would say the first Alice in Wonderland remake did manage to came out for about, I would say almost a decade ago right now, and he did make the sequel, but he forms it in 2016. But despite those videos have been up, the reviews, especially in critics alike, they seem to able to actually have like somewhat mixed opinions, and most of the time it's actually got a little bit more negative. I think it's because of how the fact that, well, they do honestly prefer the forms of the original version, because even then, what makes the originals so good, and even especially special as a result too, now the fact of the matter is though, is that it has like a good sense of like, you know, dynamics and everything like that. So that makes it clearly obvious for this point. I'm guessing because Disney, or in this case by the forms of that specific tradition, now I don't know when the forms of the box office were able to rank that film up, But even then, I might as well find out during that time while me and Pinkie Pie were able to actually talk more about it until whenever we get back to Super Mario Party at some point this weekend. So that'll be pretty exciting, most of it. So even then, though, yeah. Anyway, though, folks, basically, we're now moving on to the forms of Career Zone, and I think this is actually the final time we're gonna be stupid stunt fails. Anyway, this is actually gonna be the final time we're gonna be racing this track, because after this, then we're gonna be moving on to the forms of the Dragoon Canyon. So even then, though, I'm quite surprised because of how the fact that we're actually getting quite close towards the end of this Let's Play at this point, because, you know, until when it gets to the point, as I said this before, whenever we get to the beginning of April, then I should able to actually wrap things up with the forms of this Let's Play before we're able to move on to the next Sonic racing game by the forms of Team Sonic Racing, because after all, though we did manage to done several Sonic racing games from the past, like we did done Sonic Rivals 1, Sonic Rivals 2, and especially notable with the redo Let's Plays of, you know, which we've already done since 2015. Now we did done the original Sonic Riders, and especially notable with Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. And also we did done Sonic Drift 1 and 2, due to this Sonic's Game Gear Marathon, and also, as we already noticed by this point, that we've already done a, you know, the redo Let's Play of Sonic and Single Stars Racing, and yeah, it's about time to able to actually move on to the next Sonic racing games. Even then, though, that we actually gone through those particular titles for quite some time at this point. And, well, there's only like one racing game exception, which we're probably not going to do a Let's Play of. That is, of course, Sonic Free Riders, because it's a Kinect game, and especially noticeable how embarrassing that game is supposed to be. I kind of wish if they, Sonic Free Riders, were able to make it to the actual port of the game, because even then, to make the controls a little bit more better, even especially because of how the fact that, well, despite the fact there was the Xbox 360 game exclusive, or to be more specifically, the Kinect game exclusive, that's how the fact of the matter is now. I kind of wish if that game will be tweaked a little bit, just in case you don't have to require Kinect all the goddamn time. But, unfortunately though, because of how the fact that they don't seem to do that, so kind of a missed opportunity right there, but I digress. And another thing is worth mentioning though is the fact that the actual Final Fantasy VII, by the forms of the original PlayStation Classic, that is going to be coming out for the Nintendo Switch, and I believe it's going to come out in tomorrow, I believe. That's how the fact that, well, usually in this case, 6 hours left before the actual game come out, because even then, as I say, by the forms of 6 hours, is because, once again, I managed to upload this during at some point in 6 o'clock in the UK time, or in this case, for this particular point, depending on what time they actually going to be able to be going through, like, you know, in different countries and all that stuff, they do have, you know, their different time zones and stuff like that, so that makes it clearly obvious here. So even then, though, that concludes the Career Zone in the mirror version, but I still really found that track to be a little bit tricky and difficult, just because you have to go for that little sharp turn you have to take. But even then, though, I believe, kind of think about it though, is the fact that if you go approach to the forms of the Superstar Showdown level on, you know, the forms at the very end of the World Tour mode, basically you can able to actually unlock this course alternatively, but even then though, that might be the only way to be able to actually notice that. So, other than the fact that you can able to actually unlock the rest of the mirror versions of the stages themselves by simply playing through the Grand Prix mode most of the time, but some of the courses can be unlocked by the forms of the World Tour mode sometimes. Well, usually it doesn't give you that many of it, to be honest. But I digress. So let's move on to the Dragoon Canyon, but this time on the mirror version, so even then know that sometimes I will admit though right away is the fact that, well, I found the mirror tracks in this particular game is actually a lot more difficult to me compared to the forms of how it does it in the previous Mario Kart games, because I did manage to done these, you know, the mirror cups no problem in the Mario Kart series, but for the love of God, I seem to have a lot of struggles with this, even by the forms of, like, since I'm on hard mode on that particular cup so far, then it will makes me a little bit more of a, it gives me like a hell of a lot more time to be able to actually decide to able to like becoming victorious or anything like that. So that could be one of those potentials, I feel like. So But I guess not much else I can talk for that at this point in time, folks. So yeah, that's as far as I can say. So anyways, let's go ahead and just, you know, drift along for this point, because again, that you really can't afford to able to actually bash into the walls or anything like that, just because if you do bash into the wall, then obviously you're probably gonna able to slow down once in a while. So yeah, that might be a little bit more of a juvenile at points, but even then, no, that's besides the point. So anyways though, something I just want to mention about this also is the fact that we're like to able to do something completely special until when it gets to the point until the 10th of April, which I'm probably not going to spoil things too much because of how the fact that, well, if you couldn't tell already, because we're actually going to be, like, you know, super busy and stuff, and that's besides the point. And not to mention because of how the fact that, well, we might actually do that at some point later down the road. But again, we don't know 100% certainty, because even then again, we are really tad busy at this point in time. But even then, especially because at this point now, that we're actually getting quite close towards the end, or in this case, almost approaching towards the end of March, until we move on to the 4th month of, you know, in 2019, which is April. So even then, I expect things little things too much about it. So yeah, that's as far as I can see how this will go. So, oh jeez, we're actually on the final lap already. I cannot believe we're actually breezing for this particular cup with no sweat. But I digress. And I believe, since we're going to be playing this mode on hard mode, I'm guessing because of how the fact that, well, I might actually get ourselves the next unlockable sticker exponentially. Even then, we'll see what happens there whenever we, you know, finish this particular cup first. So, but I digress. So yeah, another thing I should probably explain about this actually, for those of you guys are still the bronies, including myself included, that how the fact that recently I've managed to got myself the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 5 DVD box set complete edition on specifically in the UK versions, because I don't think they attempt to do the individual volumes anymore, because I think that what they may most likely focusing on now is that, of course, the complete episodes on that particular you know, box set, which I could appreciate about that kind of stuff, because even then, that way I can able to actually watch every single episode during that time. And even then though, what makes this DVD compilation, specifically the latest UK release of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 5 DVD complete set, I'm very glad to say is the fact that they did manage to improve some of it, like in the forms of, for instance, for example, the episode selection is all 26 episodes, as opposed to the forms of the previous season, which is Season 4, that for whatever reason they seem to able to missing, you know, they seem to miss out on that one particular episode on, you know, in Season 4, and that will have to be by the forms of the bats. So, kind of a shame though, but I'm still able to actually watch Season 4 even to this day, because this is still as one of my favorite seasons of the entire show itself. So, yeah, that's as far as I can go for that point. Although, I'm very glad that they did manage to include all of the episodes in all 4 of those discs. So even then though, I'm very pleased about that. So, who knows, maybe it might actually do that again during at some point in Season 6, which it might actually be released a day before Team Sonic Racing comes out for the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So, that might be very interesting to know. So anyways though, you know, BD Joe was in 3rd place, and Vice from 2nd place, and Knights she's in number 1 position. So, not bad after all, even though in the first track, and especially with the last track, as you can see right there, that I've managed to get to 2nd place just because, holy crap, BD Joe did manage to conquer everything on that track. But I digress. And yeah, as you can see, that since we play this on hard mode, as you can see, we got ourselves the yellow trophy icon, meaning that, well, I'll explain more on that later. So join me next time on Let's Play Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed, is that we're about to be continuing on with the Grand Prix in the forms of in the mirror version of that Grand Prix mode. We are now going to be approaching on to Rogue Cup. So see you guys next time. Later, fellas.